You know, and I know, it's not quite that way right now. And as the wisdom of Solomon tells us, the devil got his hand into it. And the corruption has taken place in that creation that God has made, and that He loves dearly, and it reflects His glory. He wants that creation to reflect who He is and to respond to who He is. It has gone awry, not as it ought to be. We live in that disrupted creation. And in fact, we ourselves experience that from within and from outside. It's not God's purpose, really. It needs to be restored. It needs to be made whole. It needs to come back to its perfection that God intended when He said, "Let there be," and there was. And is. So often we forget that that's what God's purpose is, because we are clouded, if you will, by sin and death and all the rest. And somehow those things are normal and they're okay. But the events in the gospel today show otherwise. That the redemption takes place in this world in the present moment. Jesus is surrounded by a crowd. He's got His disciples with Him, His followers. He's got the curiosity seekers. He's got the people that really don't trust Him anymore. You know, He could be a religious and a political difficulty. So there are those who would wish that He would sort of, why don't you just go home and go away? Don't be such an agitator. And there are those plotting against Him. And the leader of the synagogue hears that Jesus is there, and he comes running through the crowd to find Him. "My daughter is that close to death. She's sick and she's dying. And can you help? Please, come with me." And He says, "I'll do that." And he and this crowd moving down the street, down the road. A woman comes up who's been suffering for all of these years, 12 years. Her money is gone. Physicians have been less than helpful. So maybe if I touch His clothes, I'll be okay. She comes up and she puts her hand out just very carefully and gently. She doesn't want anybody to notice. She touches His clothes. And Jesus says, "Who touched me?" He knew something had happened. He felt it. And His disciples say, "No, come on. You're in the middle of a crowd. We're bumping into each other. It's not like sort of, as somebody said at the 5 o'clock service after the service, it's not like an Episcopal procession. It's not a clear shot. People are bumping into you. Come on, Jesus." He said, "No. That power leaves." And He looks to see, and that woman who has suddenly been healed, she can feel it. She knows it. She finally overcomes her fear, and she comes up before Him, and she said, "I did." Tells him the whole thing. And Jesus said, "Daughter, get up. Be healed." He's brought perfection to us in a place, to a person who had no hope of it. That was sort of the normal thing. Well, but no, God will not have it that way. Well, of course, there's still that first concern, and that Jairus' daughter, synagogue, and they have to make their way to that. And of course, when they come, there's all this comes, and the weeping and the wailing. The kid's dead. Come on, the people say. Why bother? There's nothing you can do about this. Jesus says, no, let's just, why don't you get most of these people out there, a bit of a Mom and Dad and Peter, James, and John will go where this child is. Body. Everybody who's sure is there. He said, no, she's sleeping. He gets over and he takes her by the hand. He says, okay, kid, get up. A bit of a command, of course. But then, gently, picks her up by the hand, and she gets up. And starts to walk around. She's been brought back to be whole and healthy and strong. And Jesus says, I don't want you to talk about this, because the last thing you need is for everybody in the neighbor coming over and saying, oh, hey, we'd like to see the kid. That's the last thing you need in this household. Oh, by the way, give her something to eat. I'm sure she's hungry. It's a tough time for her. We need to bring her back to the fullness of health and strength, vitality. Everybody assumed the kid was dead. So they go through the proper cultural requirements for that, the weeping and the wailing and all the listening that goes with that. It's all part of the culture that they live in. But Jesus is saying, no, we're going to redeem all of this to be what it really needs to be and should be, and God's purpose to be, like the wisdom Solomon tells us. We tend to live in a culture and a life, and we think this and we experience these things ourselves, is that, oh, well, we'll just have to put up with the difficulties or the hard times or the, well, it's all perfectly normal, it all works out. Well, it is not what it needs to be, it should be. And we step forward in faith, knowing that God will bring about the perfections as He promised in the beginning, and be ready to receive that. To come and say, I need this. Like Jairus in the synagogue. Or the woman who sneaks up behind to make the touch, knowing that there's possibility, trusting and faithful, that God will provide for us. Those are the things we need to do in our own life. To trust that those gifts will be given. We will be made whole. And in that, participate with great joy in that wonderful creation that God has made, that He loves dearly. And He wants us to reflect that love to Him. We can be together in that glorious relationship.